I really want to say something about that gesture. Um, it's the pollinator. I thought I'd try a vlog with my one of my one of my caps on, but it looks like you can't. It's a little dark here, so I'm gonna take it off. Um, at any rate, did I just say my name? I don't know. It's the pollinator, and I don't know what the title of this vlog is going to be. So I'll figure that out while I'm uploading it. But good morning. Um, and this is one of those strange kind of topics that I want to talk about, but I wanted to clear some things up. And it came from, it came out of the blue from looking at someone's timeline on the Fuckerbook platform. And what she said was, uh-oh, I lost it verbatim. But basically what it said was that if you do something to me publicly, why would I accept your apology privately? Basically is what it said. So what this did was bring up something that I talked about at length, ad nauseum, back in February of 2018. And that was the awful situation that I found myself in with regards to my ex and trying to get my cell phone back. And I just wanted to let everybody know that I did get it back eventually. But the reason I got it back was because of all the backlash that happened out of those vlogs. And I have had a few conversations with her since then. And all that ever really came out of them was a lot of that I was being accused of knowing that the fallout would happen and the backlash would happen. And even though I told her, no, I wasn't even thinking that far. At the time, I was just, it was like a public outcry for me because I felt very, very isolated in that relationship. I did not feel as though people really knew what I was experiencing for 2.5 years. And that, all that was being kept hidden out of sight of her family, her friends, my family, my friends, and that I just wasn't, I was in so much pain. And what I found interesting, and the reason why I have never to this day apologized for any of those vlogs that I created, is that I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry that I was in that much pain that had been created around me, and the fact that she wanted me to feel sorrier for what happened after the fact than the reason why I created all of those vlogs in the first place. There's just some people that no matter what, I'm not sure whether it's cognitive dissonance or exactly what it is, that some people, regardless of what they do to you, they manage to always victimize themselves as they are doing it to you. And I just could not, there was just no way on God's green earth that I was going to feel sorrier for what happened in the aftermath of those vlogs than I did for the reason I created them in the first place. It was as though, she thought I planned the fallout, which I did not know was going to happen, and that it somehow superseded 2.5 years of bullshit that was created in my life, in my emotions, in my heart, in my life, in my finances, in all of the things that had been going on those 2.5 years was also erased by what I did about it, which was to seek solace in these vlogs. And I'm not talking to anybody when I'm making them. I'm just talking. I don't know who's going to see them and who isn't. I did not know who was going to respond to any of those vlogs or not. In fact, I turned the comments off so nobody could. Well, actually, I had them on in the beginning, and then I turned them off because people were kind of, they didn't know that they were pouring salt in an already open wound by even agreeing that, I was being used and this and that. I already knew all of that. I did not need to hear those kinds of things as a response to the incredible amount of pain that I was in at the time. And so I turned the comments off. And then I was like turning their visibility on and off as well, because I was just such a mess. And not once did she acknowledge putting me in a place of being a mess. It was all about who contacted her after seeing those videos, and it got to the point where I said, you know what, I don't care. I don't care what it caused. I don't care how it made you feel. I don't care how any of that, because I had already threw up a wall and said, you know what, I'm not going to be made to feel guilty for something I never caused in the first place. I mean, more than any time in my entire life, I had so much love to give back in 2015 and throughout the 2.5 years. Even though I began to pull that love back, I began to not express it and not put it out there as much as I did in the beginning. When you treat somebody like a queen and they treat you like a peasant, and then keep giving you excuses and reasons and this and this and that for doing so, at some point in time you realize, and I realized, that I was not being treated like a king in return. I was being told that's what the desired outcome would be, that it was never that way. The words did not match the behavior. So anyway, yeah, when I saw that post on somebody's timeline, it jogged all this back. And it's like, the hell, I'm going to apologize for... I could have done worse things than publicly expressed my pain. It wasn't about publicly humiliating her, like she thought. It was about me expressing my pain, because I'm transparent, I'm a public figure, I am a speaker, I am an international mentor. A lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people knew what was going on for me. And they, after I made, no, even before and after I made those vlogs, I told my people in my inner circle that I might make them public. And not once did they say, you would be wrong to do that, or judge me for doing that or anything of that nature, because they knew I was being made to feel like shit throughout that relationship, and that um, that that what I did about it was justifiable, considering the isolation of that I was in about it. If we could have worked through it, that's exactly what I was trying to do. But there was never any effort to work through anything. There was just always, you're right, I'm wrong. I'm right, you're wrong. Uh, Victim, victim, victim. And meanwhile, I was getting the shit kicked out of me. Not her. She didn't. I think the most she ever lost was, I don't know, Face. The hell, Face got to can be comparable to the emotional abuse I was experiencing, and never got. She never acknowledged any of that. So it was always some kind of minimization of exactly how it hurt me, how she hurt me so. Um, and so my part is my part for allowing, for not having enough wherewithal or enough strength to pull back when I saw a lot of these major issues going on, red flags. And I know why, but I'm not gonna put that out there. My therapist knows, and one of my friends knows why I did all that, why it was acceptable to me to be a doormat in that situationship. But thing is, they have a saying. There is a saying. I don't know where it came from. I don't know. I don't know where this comes from. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So, it almost killed me, but what almost put me in a position, it was depressing as hell, and I have a fear of falling into depression because I was in one for 14 years. Did she care she was taking me there? No. All she cared about was her own pain, and never mind, never mind. But I was afraid of falling so deeply in a depression that not being on the planet would become an option. So I had to throw up some really, really, really high walls that protect me and will protect me for the rest of my life from getting into any situation like that again ever. Wow. So I just wanted to state, I did get the phone back, and I wish that none of that had ever happened. But I also know that I wasn't the cause of any of what happened. I was in a completely defensive posture. I wanted to trust. I did trust. I wanted to believe. And just like my mom told me, I trust too much. And so one of the effects of that is that I swung from trusting too much to not trusting anybody. I've gone the complete opposite direction, to where, there's only a couple people that I trust, but basically I'm in this place of not trusting any kind of situation or anybody until they show me I can trust them. Now, all of my life, it was the opposite. I would just give you trust, unearned trust. And then if you did something, then I could see that I can't trust you. But that that put me in a place of trusting something that's not trustworthy, or someone who's not trustworthy. Um, I mean, all of the, I am articulate as hell. I laid out exactly how things should be when it comes to actions speak louder than words, and words, what words align with what actions align with what words. It all has to line up, you see. So for anybody out there who's in situations like this, look, if what you're experiencing is different than what you're hearing coming from someone, run. Run, Forrest, run. If nothing about someone is lining up with what they're saying, and their actions are the opposite of what they're saying, you got to look at their actions, not what they're saying, because people say any old thing these days. There is a lot of, and you know what? I've been trying to find this word for several days because I can't think of it, but it exists. Something along the lines of being inauthentic, being fake, being phony, being. I don't even see how people can consciously be that way without feeling horrible. Because I've always been the way that you see me on these vlogs is the same way that I am in person. It's the same way that I am over the phone. It's the same way that I talk in emails. It's the same way I communicate, the same way regardless of how I'm communicating. I am a lot more hyper. I talk 1,000 miles a minute, which my friends know, my family knows, that I'm a heck of a lot more fun and excitable and stuff like that in person than I am. It's hard for me to express that when I'm fucking talking to myself. Sometimes you can see it if I go live with other individuals, and even then I'm so focused in on what we're talking about that you don't see Mr. Fun Guy in those either. You'd actually have to see me interacting with people in order to see that I'm just absolutely outrageous. And I'm that way because of my training as a public speaker. That was a very intense, long ass training where every 3 to 4 months, I think, every 3 months, there would be these workshops, these things that we would have to do for the entire weekend, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or Saturday and Sunday, for from 9 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, midnight. So there was this weekend called 10 Times More Excited weekend. And that weekend turned everybody out. I mean, everybody. Nobody escaped. Everybody had to get on the stage. Everybody had to practice for months before that weekend to be 10 times more excited. And we had to do it while memorizing the memorization part of our introduction to the forum. And in the introduction, it wasn't all a memorization. Because you're dealing with people and questions that may come from people and stuff like that. And also we had to embed stories in the introduction, personal stories. We had to be able to remember those and not have much variation of them. So that weekend, boy, that city didn't see us I mean, my God, it was absolutely wild. By Sunday night, they let us loose on the Bay Area, and I mean, we went ape shit crazy. Everywhere we went, people were like, "Who are you people?" We were so we it freed something in us, and I think I speak for everyone that was in there. Which during those weekends, there were at least 300 people from all over the region, from all the way as far as Washington State to all the way down in Southern California. 300 plus 400 people all doing the same thing, which eliminated being embarrassed in public, being low key about anything. In fact, okay, let me share something else. And this didn't come from that training, but it came from the first seminar, I think, or the second one. There was the form and then there was the advanced form. But in one of those two seminars, oh crap, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, man, it was going to be something good too. Oh, okay, back on track. One of those two, I heard. I don't know who else heard it, but I heard it directly from the forum leader's mouth that whatever emotion you're feeling about anything, to feel it to the max. This includes negative emotions, positive emotions, negative thinking, positive thinking. If you try to, say for instance, anger. If you try to feel anger full out 10 times more than you're really experiencing it, it has the opposite effect on you. You cannot sustain that emotion for days, minutes, hours, days, weeks. Now, if you put a lid on it, yeah, you can stretch that motherfucker out forever. I have a son, one of my sons. It says that he goes into these moods where he experiences these really, really bad moods for like 4 days in a row. And I was like, what? How are you experiencing that for 4 days? If he actually sees this vlog, I don't know if he will or not, I invite him, as I invite everybody who watches this vlog, that whatever you're feeling, try to feel it times 10. If you're really, really, really sad, try to be really, really, really sad times 10. If you're really, really angry, try to feel really, really angry times 10. And I don't mean thinking, okay, I'm thinking that I'm doing this times 10. Force yourself to go ape shit crazy. Now, one of a few things can happen, or a lot of things can happen. You know, maybe if you felt 10 times more angry, you would start wanting to break things in your house or put your hand through a wall. And at some point, logic and reasoning is going to kick in and tell you, well, you may not want to do that. And how ridiculous anyway. And the more you think about those kinds of things, the more you water down why you're angry in the first place. See, maybe this is like a form of reverse psychology, where if you try to experiencing something that is self-destructive in the first place, that if you experience that times 10, self-preservation would kick in. Now, look, I'm not saying this for people who truly have mental issues. Because, yeah, there is a risk that if you try to experience depression times 10, that you may end up depressed times 10 and doing something that's not, doing something that you and everybody around you will regret. Well, you won't regret it if you actually pull off suicide, for instance. So, this kind of technology and the landmark form itself is not designed for people who need therapy instead. It is not. It's for people who already have something on the ball. It's for people who are looking for an edge in life, and it's for people who are looking for advantages over already being advantaged, already having some self-esteem, already having a little bit of having a little confidence, already having possessed perhaps even on some level of success. I mean, not once when I've done that seminar, which I'm getting ready to do in August, I haven't done the forum. The first of those seminars I have not done since 1994. So this is super exciting to me, and I'm so looking forward to, because I know that program. I know what that technology is all about. It's breakthrough technology, and it causes breakthroughs, especially if you participate. Now, with 160 people in the room, 160 to 200 people in the room, there's a lot of them that just sit there and they don't participate. They just listen and they observe. And those ones end up with insights versus breakthroughs. And some of them, even though they're just sitting there and they're not participating, they end up with breakthroughs too. So, they've got some statistics, whether I don't know if I buy them or not, because none of the times I've ever done that seminar did anybody come back and ask me if I had a breakthrough. So they're throwing some stats out there that 89% of the people who do the landmark form end up with breakthroughs. But who's to say where those numbers coming from? Because they don't come back when all is said and done and ask you if you did have some and what they were. So I consider that hype, but it doesn't really matter because that business, that corporation has caused more breakthroughs in my life than any other thing that I've ever done. And I had done a lot of things up to the first time that I did it in 1989. I had done a lot of work on myself from 1983 until 1989. I had done a lot of things. So so yeah, it just pushed me higher is what it did. And I was already on an upslope type of life inside myself. And any and everything can be had inside of healthy communication, healthy emotions, just I'm giving everybody a kind of a crash course of what goes on inside. Not really what goes on inside, because it's not done, it's not a class. It is a seminar. There are no notes. There is no homework. There's well, okay, just a little bit of homework, but not much. It's all live. It's not written homework. It's things that you do while in the seminar, and things you may or may not do after each day is over. It's only 3 days, folks. 3 days and a Tuesday night. And what can come out of that is worth its weight in gold. It pays for itself. And right now, it costs twice as much as it did when I did it in the beginning. But it was so worth it anyway. I would still pay that amount of money if I could to do it again. But after you've done it the first time, you do get a discount on doing it subsequent times. So this is not a plug-in for Landmark Education, but it is a plug-in into the most rewarding thing that I've ever done. And you know, I kept trying to give pieces of what I got out of that to my ex, to a lot of my exes. In fact, many of them did the forum based off of me and what I had to say about it back when I was polished as a public speaker for that organization, for that business. But not my ex. My recent ex did not do that. I wasn't going to ask her to do that. If I had, I would have had to pay for it. So if you don't invest in yourself, you're not going to get out of it what is intended to get out of it. In fact, in the very beginning, and I'm giving away some trade secrets now, but day one, hour one, the forum leader, be it a man or woman, gets up and asks, well, they're standing up anyway, either standing up or sitting in one of those director chairs. Ask if anyone is in here that felt pressured to be there. If anybody was in there who didn't pay for it themselves, although I don't think that is said, but definitely the pressure conversation. If anybody felt like, you know what, they got coerced or pressured or whatever into being there, then they could get up and leave. But before they left, the forum leader would have a conversation with them. Not to convince them to stay, but to invite them to look at their participation and own it as though they put themselves in there, not their family member or their friend or their co-worker or whoever, that they take ownership in being there and staying. And all the times that I've done it, I've also volunteered to participate during the forum. Not participate, I'm sorry, to be part of the logistics teams of that seminar. And all the times I've actually seen that and have done it myself, which is probably like 4 times maybe. Maybe one person out of 5 or more, you know, between 5 and 10 people that said they felt that way stayed. Maybe 1 did not. At the most 2. Forum leaders are very, very, very good at what they do. And they have a productive, constructive, positive conversation with each and every one of them that raises their hands and say they felt pressured, to get them to see, give them the option to choose to be there or leave. But they gotta choose. They gotta choose. Not like somebody threw their ass in there and they have to stay. No, they don't. In fact, if they did, they wouldn't get anything out of it anyway. They'd probably be, you know, I don't know. I don't know what they would be, because every single one of them that stays is 100% in, and owns it. Owns that they're there by their own choice, instead of that they're there through somebody else's choice or wanting them to do the forum. So I started all this out because of a post that I saw where I suppose that individual may have gotten called out publicly, and then someone in her life tried to apologize privately and not publicly. So I just wanted to come out and say, I ain't apologizing for shit that I did. Not publicly, not privately. Just that because she wanted All that backlash to stop, she sent the phone back. Not because she saw anything of what I said. In fact, she told me she didn't give a fuck what I said. She didn't want to watch any of those videos. She didn't want to know how I felt. She didn't know what she didn't want to know the bombs that she was causing in my life. She didn't want to know any of that stuff. Okay? So it became real clear to me why she sent it back. Either to stop me from making any more public videos, or, you know, just to get all that shit to die down, because she actually said, well, the damage has been done. And I said, yes, it has, by you. None of those vlogs would have been created had she not reigned damage for 2.5 years in my life. The hell I care what happened after that damage had been done, that she experienced a week or two of people just going after her. I don't care. I care for her, but I don't care about that. And in fact, no. I'm not practicing caring. I feel it in my heart. It's in my head. She'll always have a little piece of my heart, but I'm no longer willing to engage in somebody who is victimized when being a perpetrator. These are the kinds of people that they're front and center right now in the Me Too movement and a lot of other things where they're going out and violating women and trans men, and then turn around and blame them for being the cause of them being abused. That's how I felt for 2.5 years. That's how I was made to feel for 2.5 years. And that's why I did what I did, was to free me. Forgiveness wasn't enough for me. I didn't even say everything that had gone on for those 2.5 years. But trust and believe it was enough to make a man crazy. Without her caring that I was going crazy. Damn it to hell. I wish things had been different. I don't like being single. But I can do bad all by myself. And by myself, I don't. So I'd rather be by myself than to be doing bad, to be feeling bad in a relationship with a woman. What's the point of that? A waste of time is what it was, and it was getting in the way of where I was going in life. I wanted her to get on board and let's go in the same direction, not me going this way, she's going that way, which was causing, you know, this big old gap in the middle where it was distracting. It was distracting me trying to get this business off the ground, trying to get my book published, all the things that I needed to do in life. That was nothing but a distraction because it was just constant arguing. So arguing and then blaming me for the arguments every time. In fact, the very, very last time we actually spoke on the phone, she was being extremely provocative. And after she got me all upset to the point where I was on the brink of crying, she said, "You did that to yourself." I wasn't talking to myself, so how did I do that to myself? See, this is anyway, I ain't sorry for what I did. I'm not apologizing privately or publicly about how I handled the situation, which got me and my emotions out of hot water, which was the only purpose that I had in that, was not to do anything else for her when it came to all of that. So, okay, oh shit, I made another very long video. But hey, this is for you know, my number one fan, who when she gets to telling me, oh, I'm watching reruns. And she gets something else, because I really didn't plan on making another vlog for a while, but so this one is for you, dear. Enjoy, and I hope everybody has an awesome, blessed, productive, positive, inspiring, motivational week. And truly, if you're of sign, mind, and body, go out and experience whatever you experience and feel 10 times more. And I bet you'll break all sorts of patterns in your life by doing so, especially the negative ones. Pollinator out.